That time I got reincarnated as a slime. Chapter 1. Continued. Munch, munch. Munch, 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 munch. I just snacked on some grass. Why did I do that? Well, why not? It's not like I had anything else to do. It had been a few days or so since I was pretty much forced to accept the fact that I was now a slime. How many I wasn't exactly clear on. The passage of time is tough to pick up on, and all you see is total darkness. One discovery I had stumbled upon over the past few days was that the slime's body could be way more useful than at first sniff. I never got hungry, for one, nor did I get tired. Food and sleep for me were wholly unnecessary. And I had divined something else too. I couldn't be completely sure, but there didn't seem to be anything else living around here. In terms of danger, I wasn't sure there was any to speak of. My days were blissfully free of worry, or anything else really. The whole time I never heard that voice again. By this point, I wouldn't have minded a little companionship, but no, it was just me, the grass, and me eating it for lack of much else to do. It was simply a way to kill time, and by this point I could sense the entire process. My body absorbing the blades, dismantling them internally, sorting all through the components and storing them away. What it all meant, I couldn't say. It was starting to frighten me a bit. I needed to do something, or I'd lose my mind. So I kept going through the cycle. Absorb, break down, store up. But there was something odd about the process. Elimination never factored into it somehow. Not even once. Maybe slimes didn't need to do that. Hell, not like I'd know either way. But where was all this stuff I was ingesting going then? My senses told me that my form hadn't changed in any appreciable manner from when I first arrived. So what the hell? Received, it is being stored in the stomach of the unique skill Predator. Current physical space usage is less than 1%. What? Whoa, it speaks! Since when was I using any skills? I thought I answered no back there. Received, the unique skill Predator is not being used. The matter is being ingested into your body is set to automatically be stored in your stomach. This can be changed as much as needed. Oh, well, nice to see we're having a real back and forth finally. But back to business, if I use this skill, what happens then? Received, the unique skill Predator chiefly compromises the following 5 effects. Predation takes the target into your body, lesser chance of success if the target has its own consciousness, can be targeted on organic and inorganic objects, as well as skills and magic. Analysis. Analyzes and researches targets taken into your body, lets you create craftable items. If the required materials are present, allows you to make a copy of the item. Successful analysis of the casting method allows you to learn the target's skills and magic. Stomach. Stored the predated target. Can also store materials created via analysis. Items stored in your stomach are unaffected by time. Mimicry. Reproduces the form and skills of absorbed targets. Only available once the target has been analysed. Isolate. Stores harmful effects incapable of being analysed, neutralising them and breaking them down into magical force. What? For the first time in a while I was thrown. That sounded like a kind of incredible ability. Not exactly the kind of thing slime were known for. At least not the ones I knew. And, hang on, who was this voice, answering my questions anyway? Was someone there? Received, this is the effect of the unique skill Great Sage. The skill has taken effect, making it more immediately available. A sage, huh? And here I thought that voice was just screwing with me. Now is the best partner I've had. Hope that keeps up. Hell, anything would have been fine at that point, as long as it helped soothe out the endless solitude I was preparing myself for. For all I know, this voice was something my mind had crafted to keep my marbles intact. It was fine by me. For the first time in ages, I could feel a burden lifting from my heart. By my count, it had been 90 days since I was reincarnated as a slime. To be more precise, 90 days, 7 hours, 34 minutes and 52 seconds. How was I so sure about this? Turned out that was one of the many side effects of evoking that great sage skill. Holy cats, was that thing helpful. Talk about your best friend in a pinch. Any question that popped into my mind, it instantly provided the answer. According to the sage, it took 90 days for the skill to fully fuse itself with my soul. Normally, it would be unable to provide responses in the form of conversation, but in order to answer my questions, it apparently revamped itself. diverting part of its world language powers to assist me. That's how it was explained to me, at least. This useful ability, relaying words into my mind, isn't normally possible. As it explained to me, this world language was heard only when there were great changes to the world, or when you either earned or upgraded a skill, some things that normally didn't happen very often. These skills were obtained only rarely, when the world recognised that you had grown in one way or another. Evolution, meanwhile, was something most people never got to experience in their lives. It was all Greek to me, but that was how it was. So the great sage was answering my questions at the moment, but otherwise it was this totally passive thing. No real sentience or anything. Unless I spoke up, it would never really talk to me of its own violation. That was the only drawback, but tossing words around with someone again was a wonderful feeling, even if it was a one-way street. Although, back in my home world, having a conversation with my own skill might have been considered strange. So, there I was, still locked in darkness, asking a barrage of questions. One thing the replies confirmed was that yes, I was a slime now. I also found out why I never got hungry or sleepy. The slimes in this world, it turned out, never had to eat, if they could keep absorbing the magic particles, or magicules, in the air. In less magically abundant regions, I would be obligated to fill up by absorbing the monsters or small creatures. Most slimes shield away from areas with low magic presences, but the ones that didn't were apparently both quite strong and madly vicious. Usually it was the other way round, where a wealth of local magic meant especially strong monsters. In other words, the area I took up residence in was so laden with magic that I didn't even need to eat. As for the sleep question, received, the body of a slime consists of a mass of completely identical cells. Each individual cell may function as a brain cell, a nerve cell, or a muscle cell. Since the operational cells used for thought are rotated in and out of regular intervals, there is no need for you to sleep. This raised the question of where my memories were being held exactly. Maybe it was like some kind of RAID setup on a computer? That would be close enough, came the response. Considering its lack of personality, the sage certainly came up with some snappy replies. Speaking of which, the great sage skill consisted of 5 facts. Hasten thought. Boost perception speed by 1,000 times. Analyze and access. Analyzes and accesses the target. Parallel operation. Operates on any matter you wish to analyze, separating it from the regular thought process. Cast cancel. Annuls the casting period required when using magic, etc. All of creation. Provides full coverage of all unsuppressed matter and phenomena in this world. All of creation. So, I know about everything, everywhere, with no effort on my part. Score, or so I thought. It turned out that I could only be told information related to things I actually heard about. In other words, I needed to recognise and understand the concept before I could grab full analysis of it. And the spell thing, did that mean I could instantly use any magic once I learned it? And there was magic in this world and stuff? The great sage replied with a big yes. Well, once I knew that, I just had to learn a few spells myself. I checked with the sage to see if it could help me cast magic, but that was a no-go. It was worth a shot. Still, I had another great idea. Could I link the Predator Analyst skill with the Great Sage Parallel Operation? Received. It is possible to link Predator Analysis with Great Stage Parallel Operation. Do you wish to link them? Yes or no? Yeah. Not that I had anything to analyse yet. Wait, or did I? The grass in my stomach. That stuff I had been eating to pass the time. What was that? Not like I had anything else to do. Let's give it a try. Off you go, sage. Analysis complete. Hippocute herbs. Only thrives in areas blessed with high local magic density. Fusing its juice with magicules produces recovery medicine. Grinding the blades and fusing them with magicules produces a salve that closes wounds. Wow, that was what I'd been snacking on? Talk about an unexpected windfall. I immediately set out to create some medicine of my very own. The process took place inside my body, so it didn't really feel much like crafting. But the analysis took less than a second, and within another 3-ish, I had my very first potion. 5 minutes, and I could have had 100. And while I didn't have anything else to compare it to, using my great sage skills to assess them resulted in a high quality rating. So, there you go. I was happy enough with it, at least. It all went so fast. I asked the sage about it, and it said the process usually took more time than that. Linking it with parallel operation must have been the right idea, I suppose. To test that theory out, I unlinked it long enough to create a single potion. It took 50 minutes. Damn, that was slow. Looks like I have foresight to stumble across some mega-compatible skills to combine. Not that I knew what I was doing at all. Some of your garden variety weeds were also sprouting here and there, but most of the local grass was hypocrite. How about that? So I decided, as a little insurance, to predate all the herbs I could in the area and turn my stomach into a little recovery potion factory. I didn't have much else to occupy my time. It was still pitch black in here. There was no doubt about it. I had put my guard down. I had a partner who granted me skills and the ability to engage in kind of passive conversation, and I let it get to my head. I suppose that I had a lot to do with how for 90 days in a row I never ran into any other creatures. No danger to my life whatsoever. But either way, I had let my guard down. For an instant I was like, huh? I felt a sudden sensation that I had grown lighter, or heavier, or like unstable. Did I fall in some water? In the past 90 days I hadn't felt so much as a drop of water hit my body. I assumed I was in a rain-free cave or some other kind of shelter, so I had never entertained that possibility before. I had probably slipped into a river or something. Rivers don't exist indoors, so maybe it was some kind of underground creek in this cave I was in. Up until now I had been careful with every step I took, making sure everything remained steady in the darkness. But after learning about my skills, getting full of myself, and using meditation to eat a pasture's worth of grass, I had stopped paying attention to what was under me. I was always like that, getting cocky and screwing it all up in the end. I proclaimed to a customer, "Oh, absolutely, that won't be any problem at all," and then have hell to pay. It happened over and over. I still remember the spiteful look the rest of my team gave me for it. Too bad I didn't think to stop myself in time. What kind of idiot runs off into parts unknown when they can't even see? If I survived this, I was going to give myself what for. Of course, given my personality, I doubted I'd learn anything from it. It was funny how serenely I was handling this whole thing, though. Not like I had much in the form of arms or legs I could flail about in horrified panic. Guess it's over then. Pretty short lifetime, even by slime standards, maybe. I said my final prayers, awaiting my inevitable suffocation. Suffocation never came. Why not? Did I not fall in water? Time to call up the sage, maybe. Received. A slime's body operates exclusively on magicules. Oxygen is unnecessary, and therefore so is breathing. That is why you have not engaged in this behaviour. Oh, right. I wasn't paying attention. But I guess there wasn't any breathing, was there? Makes sense. Even after 90 days, I was still learning something new. But now wasn't the time to celebrate. I'd fallen into water, and even if I wouldn't die, it still put me in some kind of bind. What now? I couldn't really tell whether I was floating or sinking. My lack of limbs preluded any attempt at swimming. Would I wind up at the bottom sooner or later and be able to creep my way back to the surface? Or was I doomed to bob around in the middle of the current, never reaching much of anywhere? Though, if anything, it felt less like a violent torrent and more like I was being rocked in a cradle. Very gently rocked. It was pretty good even. Something told me this wasn't flowing water after all. Maybe it was a lake, not a river. I didn't feel as though I was being taken anywhere. I was just kind of bobbing up and down like a plastic bag, and it didn't feel as if I'd ever hit the bottom. If things stayed this way, I'm in big trouble. What now? Just then my brain cells of my slime body, I guess, came up with an ingenious plan. Maybe I could go all predator on this water and then spit it out for some water jet propulsion? Would that work? Only one way to find out. Not like I could do anything else. So I started drinking, filling my predator's stomach up to approximately 10% of its capacity. Then I expelled it like I was wringing out my stomach. The sense of release was exhilarating. Suddenly I heard a voice in my mind. Water pressure propulsion skill acquired. It was the first time I recognised it. This had to be the so-called world language. There was no mistaking it, since the sage spoke only when spoken to. But the two voices did sound exactly the same. But I didn't have a moment to ponder this. The more pressure I applied on the water, the more pressure I felt on myself, and I was rocketing forward at astonishing speed, as if I was about to launch myself into the sky. The acceleration was intense. Honestly, maybe it was a good thing I couldn't see. Instead, I just basked in the sensation of my body zipping along in the darkness. Well, let me clarify. If I could have seen my surroundings, I'm sure the fear would have been intense, and not being able to see was just as terrifying. If you've ever been on a roller coaster in an amusement park in total darkness, perhaps you'd understand the feeling. My mind flashed back to my previous life and the single day I spent visiting a certain paradise under the rule of a certain rodent. At least his magical dreamland offered safety harness. By this point, I wanted to punch myself for coming up with the idea and trying it out right after thinking it up. Come on, man, what happened to some kind of, preliminary safety check? The terror was starting to affect my train of thought. How long would I keep accelerating? How much water did I spit out anyway? As that thought occurred to me, I felt my body crash headlong into something and bounce off. I braced myself for a wave of paralysing pain, which never came. Shouldn't that have, damaged me? Or did it damage me and I just didn't feel it or whatever? Received. You have acquired cancel pain, which interrupts the creation of pain. Your resist melee attack has reduced the amount of damage taken. The amount of damage your body has incurred is 10%. The intrinsic slime self-regeneration has taken effect. Would you like to support it with your predator unique skill? Yes. No. Oh, so I was hurt a little then. Made sense. I wasn't sure whether this was a good or bad thing. But as long as I know something was up, then maybe I didn't need to feel pain after all. It'd make things certainly easier. Predator support though, huh? Don't really get it, but sure, yes. At that moment I was grating with the feeling that I had suddenly lost some of my body mass. After a while I felt it return. My damaged parts have been predated, analysed and repaired. Talk about a useful body I have. I should try testing it later to see how much of it I can afford to lose before I'm KO'd. It was way too dangerous to mess with in detail, but I guess I could afford to go without at least a bit of it at a time, so something told me I was getting a little too careful. I had a stockpile of recovery potions, which I didn't even have to use, and I would have figured losing a tenth of my body would be a pretty serious issue, but now I knew I could just regenerate it in the space of about 10 seconds. Next time I was damaged, I'd try using these potions. So, where am I wonder? Making sure my body was back to normal, I checked out my surroundings, no telling what kind of dangerous monsters might be nearby. I was out with the water, but maybe there were scary, scaly things waiting for me on the other side. Slowly, carefully, I started taking action. It kind of seemed as if whenever I did something carefully, it meant I was just about to be exposed to a heap of danger. I was sure it was my mind playing tricks on me though. And that thought probably did me no favours because... Can you hear me? Little one? I heard something.